Hey guys, it's Grant.
And Chris.
And we're going to be covering what we learned this past week about European exploration. So the Europeans wanted to find a more direct route to the Spice Islands.
Then the Spice Islands are over there on the right-hand side of the screen, right, where China and India are?
Yeah, that is correct. They were looking for a direct route because they wanted to cut out the Arab middlemen to make a higher profit.
Of course, more money. So where are all these lines then?
The black line represents Portugal and Vasco da Gama. They sailed east around the southern tip of Africa.
Well, that makes sense. That's the fast way. So what's up with that red line?
The red line is Christopher Columbus, who knew the world was round, not flat, so he decided to sail west.
But he never got there.
Right again, he ended up running into the Americas. However, he still thought that it was China and the Spice Islands. When Columbus and da Gama got back to Europe, they both met with the Pope, who decided to set up the line of demarcation.
Which is that gray line there on the left-hand side, right?
Yep. Everything to the east of the line or to the right of the line belonged to Portugal. Everything to the west or the left of the line belonged to Spain.
So pretty much Spain gets all of North and South America, and Portugal gets the rest of the world.
Essentially, that's it.
Awesome to be Portugal.
Yep. What a nice guy, that Pope. Okay, guys, let's take a closer look at Africa.
Sweet. So this looks like it's the Portuguese route going around Africa, right?
That it is. As the Portuguese started heading east more often, they began setting up trading posts along the western and eastern coast of Africa.
So those little black X's are the trading posts?
Yep, that it is.
So what's up with the red stuff in the middle?
The red stuff in the middle represents the different African tribes within the interior of the continent.
Okay, so what are they doing? They're fighting or something?
Yeah, whenever the tribes would fight together, the loser would become slaves, and then the Africans would take them to the outside trading posts.
So that's okay. So they take the slaves to the trading post and trade them to the Portuguese, I assume.
Yep.
What do the tribes get out of it?
The Portuguese give the Africans either silver or gold or textiles.
So they get cloth and gold for their people, and the Portuguese take the slaves, back home to sell them, or what?
Yes, they take them either to the Spice Islands and trade them, or take them back to Europe and sell them.
So they're making bank off the tribe's dirty work inside.
Yep, they really are.
Wow.
All right, guys, we've been focusing on Portugal. Now we're going to compare Portugal to the Dutch and to Spain.
Okay, so three countries, the Portuguese, the Spanish, and the Dutch. They should do things differently, but they've got a lot of similarities, it looks like.
Yes, they do. So first, all three countries treated the natives very, very poorly.
It seems that's always the case.
Well, that's what happens when you think you're better than everyone else. Secondly,
don't I know that?
They try to convert all the natives to their own religion by shoving their religion down their throat.
That always works.
It always does.
Yeah.
Next, you have the military force.
Okay.
These countries all had guns and cannons, which are going to beat bows and arrows and spears.
Okay.
And finally, you have the big money maker, which is gold.
So this is just like my cell phone plan then?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I've got 3G service, so they do it for gold, they do it for their own glory, and they do it for God.
Wow.
3G.
All right, well, we're going to get going right now.
Okay.
And look at the differences.
Cell phones. Yeah.
Cell phones. So you have Spain and Portugal that are both under government control. The explorers had to report back to the king or queen.
Okay, so how are the Dutch different?
Well, the Dutch are different because the explorers wouldn't go back to the king or queen. They would actually report back to the Dutch East India Company.
And the Dutch East India Company, they can do whatever they want?
They do. They have sovereign power, so they can do whatever they want, not have to worry about any repercussions.
Full bar. So pretty much the explorers are exploring for a company, not for the Dutch king and queen.
That is true.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Finally, the Europeans make it to China.
Woohoo!
Europeans are super excited.
Yay!
The Chinese are incredibly annoyed.
Ooh.
Reason for this was that the Chinese had much better textiles than the Europeans.
Yeah, the Chinese are rocking silk and spices, which is just awesome. Whereas all the Europeans could sport was, unrefrigerated sheep called mutton. That's what the meat is. And wool, which is scratchy and unpleasant in the rain.
And it happened to come from the same sheep, which is recycling.
Recycling.
Well, the Ming Dynasty, who controlled China, they decided to help out the Europeans and open up one port city.
Okay, and what city is this?
This is the city of Macau.
Macau. Moo.
Yeah, they didn't have any cows there.
Oh well.
Well, in Macau, that was the only port city open. The Europeans had a limited amount of goods they could trade.
Okay, so how much?
They could only trade gold or silver.
Oh.
Again, the reason for this was because the Chinese goods were so much better off than the European goods.
That makes sense.
The rest of the region, Korea and Japan, remained in isolation, so the Europeans only really could trade with China.
And only during part of the year, right?
Yep, only part of the year.
Wow.
All right, guys, just wanted to say thank you for listening to this.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was fun.